Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you all of the data CattleEye captures for each of your cows. There's two different ways you can get to a list of all your cows. So the first way is the recently seen widget. So that will show all cows who CattleEye has identified and scored in the past 2 weeks. If you want to see all of your cows, so that would include dry cows for example, you can get that over here at the right. If you just click on the cow symbol here, this gives you all the cows. So this is the table view, and I'll just briefly go through each of the columns and show what they mean. Tags I will come to in another video. These are custom tags that you can define based on a number of criteria. Pen, lactation, days in milk, repro status, we pull in from your herd management system, along with day since hoof check. So that's the last time you recorded an event in your herd management system, anything to do with hoof trims or checks and things like that. Days to dry off, again, is calculated based on dates set in your herd management system. And then if we scroll across, we have all the data that CattleEye is generating. So we have the mobility score. So that's a score between 0 and 100. 0 meaning the cow has no issues with her mobility, and 100 would be she has severe issues with her mobility. And anything around the 50 mark is kind of borderline. So anything over 50, CattleEye would call lame. ROMS is a UK specific term, again for mobility. So it's just rather than 0 to 100, it's 0, 1, 2, and 3. If we go to this column, mobility trend, it shows you a snapshot of the cow's mobility in the past 2 weeks. And then mobility change is just the change over that 2 week period. So it literally just takes the last score when she was under the camera, in this case it was 15, and it goes back 2 weeks and says she was 15 2 weeks ago, and it calculates the difference. So in this case there's actually no change. At the cow below, she's currently 20, 2 weeks ago she was 18, so that's an increase of 2 points. We also capture the 1 week average mobility score. So similar to how your milking system will be capturing milk data every day, but you might want to use the 7-day average milk as a more reliable estimate rather than just the last time she was milked. This just takes all scores in the past week and averages them. In this case, you can see for this cow it's 17. And then similarly, we have the 1 week average mobility change. So it's slightly different than how the mobility change is calculated. This one takes the 1 week average and then it goes back 1 week and takes that 1 week average and it calculates the difference. So it takes kind of this region here and it will average that, and it will take this region here and average that and calculate the difference. So that gives you a more reliable estimate as to how the overall mobility is changing, because the simple mobility change, if you imagine this cow could fluctuate quite a bit in this period, and it might not be captured because it's only using 2 data points, whereas this one captures the average over that time period. We have also the 1 week mobility score count. So that is just simply the number of times this cow was scored by CattleEye in the past week. So if the cow is going under the camera every day, CattleEye usually monitors just 1 milking per day. So in this case, she's going under the camera each day in the past week and she's getting scored each day, which is why this is 7. Why you might want to use this column is, say you want to be really sure, kind of can give you more confidence and reliability in the score that CattleEye is assigning, because the more CattleEye sees her under the camera, the more reliable those scores are going to be. So before you pull out a cow for trimming, you might want to make sure that CattleEye's seen her enough times before you make a decision, because maybe if we've only seen her once in the past week, you want to build up that history before you make a final decision to bring her out for trimming. And we'll scroll across again. You can see we have exactly the same as what I've described, but for a 2 week period. Using a 2 week period can, again, just give you even more confidence if you want to use averages. It could also be potentially getting to a sign of chronic lameness. So if she's been averaging high for 2 weeks, that's probably an example where maybe treatment isn't working and you want to bring that score down as soon as possible. Then finally, we have the body condition score. So similar to mobility, this is scored every time the cow comes under the camera. We will assign a body condition score. It's the 1 to 5 scale in 0.25 increments. And we can also see the BCS trend in the past 2 weeks. Similarly as mobility, the BCS change takes the latest BCS score, goes back 2 weeks and compares that. So you can see this cow, she's currently a 3. 2 weeks ago she was 2.75, so that's an increase of 0.25. And finally we have the milk weight. So this is pulled in from your herd management system. It's a 7-day average milk weight, and we pull this in once per day. You can see this cow we last pulled in 12 hours ago, and her milk weight was 46. And this is in whatever units you're used to recording. So if that's pounds, it will be pounds. If it's kilograms or litres, it will be that. And finally, the percentage lame. This is simply, if you see it gives you a fraction in the bottom. So this is over the whole history of the cow since she first came into CattleEye. So this cow has been scored 240 times by CattleEye, and out of those 240 times, she was never above that default lameness benchmark of 50. If we sort the other way, if you click on any column, you can sort it. So here we go the other direction, and this cow was scored only twice by CattleEye, so she might be a new cow into the herd. And both of those times she was scored over 50. Now that she might be scored just 50, she might be scored 55, she might be scored 75. You would need to look into this cow in more detail before you made an assumption about her, because it would be easy to say, oh, she's scored 100% times lame, she's chronic, but it might be borderline, and she's only been scored twice. So I would take this column with a pinch of salt. And then last seen is simply the last time CattleEye identified her going under the camera.